Hey guys, LeilaniJoy here, and thank you for joining me on this brand new segment of Art Nouveau, which I'm entitling LJ's Art Tip of the Day. Now, I know my episodes have been a little far and few between lately. I have a lot of projects and I'm sort of doing them all at the same time, so that's why I haven't had a new video in a while. So I thought a great addition to Art Nouveau would be some little mini-sodes where I just give you guys some tips and tricks, and you can wait for my next full painting episode. So on my very first installment of LJ's Tip of the Day, I'm going to be talking about watermarking. And I've talked about watermarking on my Facebook page recently, and a lot of you guys were curious about what watermarking is, how to do it, and why you should do it. So I thought this would be a great little mini-sode for you guys to explain watermarking and why it's useful. So according to Wikipedia, a watermark is a recognizable image or pattern in paper that appears as various shades of lightness, darkness when viewed by transmitted light. What? Yeah, I have no idea what that means either. So I'm going to give you my definition of watermarking, which is actually very simple. Basically, watermarking is an embedded signature or pattern or logo that is somehow on top of your artwork so that you can protect yourself and basically prove that it's yours. This is really important now with the internet digital age, especially because people are sharing images so quickly with things like Tumblr and Pinterest, and stuff is flipping over, and the artist names get lost sometimes. Even like if you have a signature, it's super easy to just Photoshop it out and claim it's yours. So watermarking is a really good technique to basically protect your images and make it a lot harder for art thieves to just erase them. So today I'm going to show you guys two different ways of creating watermarks for yourself. The first way is going to be using the high-tech way, using Adobe Photoshop, and the second way is going to be the slightly lower-tech way if you don't have any photo editing software, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. So if you don't have Photoshop, go ahead and skip to this section right here. I've created a little link so you don't have to watch the full Adobe Photoshop tutorial. And if you do want to use Photoshop, then just keep watching from here. Okay, so let's create a watermark. It's super easy, it just takes a few steps. First, you're going to open up a blank document and you're going to design some kind of little logo or signature or whatever it is you'd like to use over your artwork. I just keep this watermark file as a PSD so that I can come back to it and just grab this whenever I want to put it over an artwork. So something I want to show you too that I do in my watermark file here is I have a black background and I have a white background. Sometimes you may want to use your logo as white if you have a dark painting, or you may want to use it as black or a darker color if you have a lighter painting. So something you can easily do to change this back and forth, you can even create a copy of this layer if you want to, but you can take your black design and you can go up to Image, Adjustments, Invert, and that's going to flip it to white. And when I turn on my black background, you can see it in white. You can also hit Command-I as a shortcut or Control-I if you're using Windows. You'll see here that I can flip it back and flip it back to black. There it shows up again. So that's kind of a nifty tool so you can go back and forth and use this. So once you have that, let's say I'm going to use this white one here on a dark painting like Etana here. So I'm going to go to my watermark, I'm going to hit Command-A or Select All to select my little logo, and then I'm going to hit Command-Copy or Control-C or Command-C to copy my logo, which you guys probably already know this simple stuff. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit Command-V or Paste, and there we have it. You have my watermark. You can see that showing up here. And then you can resize this and make it the size that you want and decide where you want to put it, make it a different size. You can also, if you want to, you can be really liberal about your watermarks and put like a few on here. Some artists choose to kind of like sprinkle them all over. I usually feel like one is enough, depending, because I don't like to distract too much from the artwork, but if you do want to use more than one, you can. And you can also make these more subtle. Like this is pretty bold. It's also a little bit big, but I kind of want to show you how it looks anyways. But then you can take your watermarks. So let's take this one here. and I'll just put it there so you can see it. And you can adjust the opacity, which is going to make it a little bit lighter and some of the painting is going to come through. You can see that. That's kind of nice. Sometimes people like their watermarks pretty subtle, like now it's like almost hidden in there, which is kind of nice. And if you want to put more than one of these in the painting, that works pretty good. You can also play with, you might like to play with the layer styles over here. So in your layers palette under normal, you can try some of these like screen. That's going to give you some different effects. It depends what your painting looks like, of course. Overlay. Oh, overlay is kind of nice. See, the colors are really kind of vibrant in there. Soft light, that's going to give you more of that effect. Let me exclusion. Exclusion makes it like the opposite colors, which is sort of interesting. And then you can take the opacity down on that. Kind of interesting effect. So feel free to play around with that and see what you like on yours. So then also, like I said, we can do this on a lighter painting. So if I wanted to put some watermarks on Soleil here, a lot lighter, so it just barely kind of shows up. Maybe, you know, you can play around with the placement. I do recommend, though, like this is a vignette piece, I do recommend overlapping it a little bit somewhere, because that makes it a lot harder for someone to Photoshop your signature out, especially if you have more than one of these. You'll probably notice, like if you've ever looked at stock images and stuff, they have like tons and tons of those like watermarks over it, so it's really hard to steal. So I would not recommend, like I just had, I would not recommend taking your watermark and sticking it right there, because obviously all somebody has to do is take a nice little eraser and go boop, 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 bye bye. So yeah, so there you go. That's watermarking. Okay, so let's say you don't have Adobe Photoshop. What can you do? Well, there's also a super easy way that you can still watermark your artwork. So there are some great websites that can watermark all your artwork for you, and they make it super easy. One of the sites I ran across was a site called PicMarker, P-I-C-M-A-R-K-R, and don't worry, I'll also put some links in the description and on my blog so you can find these watermarking websites. So all these watermarking sites seem to work about the same way from what I found. You can upload a little logo image, you can use white text, use black text. It also allows you to place it where you want and use a tiling method. It all seems pretty user-friendly, and you can also do batches of images, which is a really time-saving function they have. I also found a good website called watermark-images.com, and they seem to also have some great customized options for you. And there you have it, you guys, everything you need to know about watermarking. I did want to add one other tip, which is kind of interesting, and I've heard that some artists do this, and I do it myself sometimes, is when you're actually painting something, whether you're doing it traditionally or digitally, sometimes I will hide like a little signature or like a little symbol just while I'm painting it, something that only I would know was there, which is kind of interesting. I actually heard about some artist somewhere who would take a strand of her hair and put it in her painting. I don't know if that's kind of gross or weird or whatever, but she was saying like, oh, well, my DNA would actually be part of the painting if hundreds of years later they wanted to test whose it was, or I don't know. But anyway, you can get creative with it and hide something that's just yours in your piece. And that way, if anything legally ever came up about your painting, you could prove that it's yours. A great way I can prove that my paintings are mine is that I actually have video documentation of me painting them. So that's a pretty good watermark just for me. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something on this video and you found it helpful. I'm going to try and do more of these to answer some more questions for you guys. So if you have something that you were just dying to know about, please comment below or send me an email or comment on my blog. Be sure to check out artnouvogue.com because I'm also going to do some text and photo examples of watermarkings to help you guys along. And I also have a great FAQ section right now that I'm continually updating and answering lots and lots of artists' questions about creating artwork, about my art business, about me. You can feel free to ask me weird stuff like, you know, how you take your coffee, if you really want to know. You can now get there much quicker by going to LeilaniJoy.com and just clicking on FAQs, which is over on the side, and it'll take you right to my frequently asked questions page.
Okay, you guys, well, I better get back to work because I have some paintings to finish for you guys because I know you just can't take it any longer. I'm going to be showing you lots of new artwork, and I have a show coming up, so I'm going to have to do a ton of new work, and that means a ton of new videos for you guys. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you guys real soon.